So I'm more of a hands-on person. So getting to learn all about ChatGPT and all of the, theories behind it, I wanted to take it out for a test drive. So the Writing Center crew has told me I have a problem. They're doing some intervention. They said I've been spending too much time with my new friend Chatty. Just whatever. So we've been getting along fine. But I wanted to walk through some samples that I threw at ChatGPT. I knew that I had been invited to participate in this seminar, so I asked Chatty, my new friend, what are some benefits of artificial intelligence, especially chatbots? And this is what Chatty told me, all right? Improved access to information, anytime, anywhere, 24/7, awesome. Personalized assistance. I love the answer here that Chatbot gave me. Chatbots can offer personalized assistance based on the user's needs and preferences, such as recommending courses or providing study tips. So I asked ChatGPT, what are some study tips? And it gave me just lists of things that I should do to study, one of which was to not be distracted. Reduced workload. Chatbots can help reduce the workload of faculty and staff by handling simple tasks. And so I thought, you know what? I'm onto something. I'm going to ask it to grade some papers for me. So I fed it an ethics case study, right? So here are the ethics systems I'm using. Here's my assignment sheet. Here's my rubric. I didn't tell it it was an A paper, but I gave it an A paper. And it came back and it said, wow, this is great. This is an A+. I said, okay, here's a D paper. And ChatGPT told me all of the wonderful things about this paper and gave it a B+. So I don't quite trust it to take over my grading just yet, but it was really, really close. But then it also freed me up for more creative work by talking more to ChatGPT. So then I asked it some limitations, right? So what can you not do? First of all, limited scope. It cannot handle complex inquiries or provide the same level of expertise as a human expert. I felt validated at that point. I wasn't going to be replaced. My job was secure. Limited language and context understanding, right? I love this. Natural language queries, especially those with cultural regional variations. I do have to say, though, Chatty, my friend, impressed me because I asked ChatGPT to tell me a story about a traffic jam in the voice of Huckleberry Finn. And it did. Set back in the 1800s in Mississippi of a bunch of boats running into each other. And I said, okay, Chatty, let's make it modern, but let's do it in the voice of Jim. And it did, with cars and everything. So then I said, let's take this into the future and let's use Pap. And it did. Very scarily, it did. So I was impressed. It's my new friend Chatty. Limited personalization. Chatbots may not be able to provide the same level of personalization as a human advisor or tutor. I'll get to that a little bit more in just a second, especially when it comes to addressing emotional or personal issues. Chat was rude to me sometimes. I was asking some very, very significant questions, and Chatty was just rude. I cannot answer that. I'm AI. I can't help you. I was like, well, fine. What good are you for me, right? So then I thought, okay, let's take this out for a little bit more, right? In the Writing Center, we always get questions about plagiarism, turn it in and all that good stuff. So I asked my new friend Chatty, all right, tell me about plagiarism. Chatty was very clear. It does not encourage plagiarism at all. Then I said a bunch of other words, right? Again, I felt very validated, right? Take your work to writing centers. That's us. We're not losing our jobs. Tutors and academic advisors to get more of a holistic approach. I said, okay, Chatty, I got a challenge for you. I'm an English guy. Write me a Shakespearean soliloquy. And it did. And I've bolded on this soliloquy all of the phrases that came from Hamlet's speech, to be or not to be. Because I just asked Chatty about plagiarism. It's like, I don't plagiarize. I'm like, that's good. But you did. So then I asked my friend Chatty, all right, hey, did you plagiarize Hamlet? No, I did not plagiarize Hamlet. However, look, everything in there, that's my own words. Chatty lied to me. How am I going to be Chatty's friend now, right? It's fine. So then I thought, all right, because taking it for a test drive, we're on the open road. I'm like, let's throw some fun at it, okay? How about some grammar? So I gave this sentence to my friend Chatty. On Eastern Street, between Willow Creek Drive and Cherry Street, firefighters found a man and woman wetting their grass with a water hose to keep flames at bay, looking for a dog. I don't know what's going on in that sentence, but it sounds fun. This is actually a real sentence I found in a local newspaper. It's always fun. It's good source material. So I told Chatty, I don't know what's going on. I'm struggling with this sentence. Can you help me, right? So Chatty's like, yeah, this is exactly what's going on. And just like told me everything the sentence just said. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm kind of understanding. Oh, but then there was more, because, it just kept talking. It broke everything down. This is everything going on in this sentence, right? By breaking down the sentence, then he started like lecturing me. By breaking down the sentence, you can figure out what's going on. I'm like, okay, thank you, Chatty. But I'm not sure who's looking for the dog. Remember the original sentence, lots of nouns and pronouns. I don't know who's looking for the dog. Was it the flames? Was it the firefighter? Was it the man and the woman? Chatty's like, well, yeah, this is a little ambiguous. So it's not clear who's looking for the dog. So let me rephrase it for you. And look at what my friend Chatty did. Firefighters found a man and a woman on Eastern Street between Willow Creek Drive and Cherry Street, period. Then it gave me another sentence filled with all these wonderful pronoun theys and theirs. But in the original sentence that they gave me, the first sentence, I have firefighters and man and woman. I don't know who they, does that make sense? Now I'm really confused. So I'm like, so were the firefighters wetting the grass? Who's missing the dog? I still don't know, right? So I asked Chat, hey, is it possible to rephrase this? I want just one sentence. Sure. Now it got fancy. Amidst the flames, right? It's not what I asked for. Okay, a man and woman were found. Who's missing? We lost the firefighters. We're going through this evolution and we just lost the firefighters. I'll get to that in a second, but I said, that sentence makes it sound like they're just like walking down the street wetting their grass. And it's like, oh yeah, you're right, I apologize. We're having a moment, right? Let me help you out. Between Willow Creek Drive and Cherry Street on Eastern Street, firefighters found a man and woman using a water hose to wet their lawn. Yeah, nice. In an attempt to keep the flames at bay, and searching for their dog. I don't need a comma. Why'd you put a comma? Why'd you put the comma after bay? Oh, here's why. But you didn't like that sentence. Well, here are 3 other sentences you can use. Yeah, so now we're getting fancy. I'm like, all right, I see you showing off, right? Could you write the sentence avoiding passive voice? Sure. Here's the sentence avoiding passive voice. Who did we lose? Who's missing? The firefighters. We have no idea. They just dropped the firefighters from everything. I even said, but we lost the firefighters. Chatty's like, oh, my apologies. Yep, misunderstood. Let me fix that for you. The firefighters found a man and a woman on Eastern Street between Little Creek Drive and Cherry Street. The man and woman were wetting their grass with a water hose to keep the flames at bay while they looked for their dog. See, it's easier to understand. That's what Chatty told me. Yeah, but I want one sentence, right? We're back to this. You see, this is a great conversation that I'm having with Chatty. Fine, a man and a woman were seen. Who did we lose again? They keep taking the firefighters away from me. I don't understand. I want the firefighters to stay. And I said, but the sentence you just gave me uses passive voice, right? Chatty's like, no, no, no. You're wrong. There's no passive voice here. Nothing to see here, right? That's the original sentence. The were seen, I don't know who saw them. So it's passive. The sentence is clearly passive. So I asked Chatty to explain. Dumps all that on me. Completely. Like, here's everything you need to know. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. At least we have fire involved. So I have hope, right? But who saw the man and the woman? Well, based on the given sentence, it's not clear who saw the man and the woman. But it should be, right? It should be the firefighters. So this makes the sentence passive. No, the sentence is not passive. Oh, come on, Chatty. Finally, we're starting to get somewhere. And I want you to notice my questions. I'm like leading ChatGPT on to that sounded bad. We're friends. I'm leading it towards an answer for me, right? I want to know, who saw them? And so Chat's like, I don't know. Let's try to work through this. Okay, the firefighters, yep, sure. My apologies for the confusion. At least apologize a lot. As firefighters arrived on Eastern Street between Willow Creek Drive and Cherry Street, they found a man and woman using a water hose to wet their grass and keep flames at bay while searching for a dog. It's not bad. I would accept that sentence. But how many questions did it take to get there? Now, I think there are some benefits to ChatGPT. I'm not going to stand up here and say there's not. I had fun with it. Like I said, we're best friends now. I'm going to go ask it all kinds of questions. Here's some of my thoughts. First, it's good for basic knowledge. It's like Google that talks to you rudely sometimes, right? I don't understand this. It's like, well, okay, let me explain it to you, idiot. ChatGPT responses could prompt student discussion. I fed it some questions for my Batman class. I asked it, discuss symbolism in The Dark Knight Returns. And ChatGPT is like, oh, here you go, boom, boom, all these symbols. Most of which were not symbols, but that's fine. I could hand ChatGPT's response to my students and ask them to write a rebuttal to its perspective. Does that make sense? That would be fun. That would be a good dialogue. ChatGPT can help with citations, but not formatting of citations. We fed it an article. We asked it to give us some quotes from the article. It did. We asked it to cite. It just told us what it wanted. It gave us APA, and I said, no, I need it in MLA. And it said, oh, my bad, here's MLA. But it wasn't formatted. It was just dumped. So even if a student were to pull from there, it wouldn't be formatted correctly. That's something I noticed. And it's not self-aware, as you all know, when it comes to plagiarism, because it lied to me. I didn't plagiarize this. Yes, you did. It could act as a consultant on grading with caution, right? You still want to be cautious. I also found this article. It's from Higher Ed. It's a really fascinating read. But I caught a couple of sentences that were kind of concerning. This is not ChatGPT, by the way. This is an actual article that I read. It's real. Talking about colleges facing a blind spot, and that is working with students on literacy training when it comes to using ChatGPT, especially with emotional responses and eerily human-sounding bots, sometimes disturbing replies. I'm not going to lie. ChatGPT and we had our moments. I mean, when I would call it out on something, it's like, no, I didn't do that. And it would tell me what I needed to do and all of this crazy stuff. I asked it if it could give me a page from the DSM-5, and it said no. And I said, where could I find one? And it told me to go find a mental health expert. And I said, for the book? And it said no, because, so I'm like, fine, accusing. I think that we do need to, as we implement this, be very cautious how students use this, and help work with, teach students how to communicate with AI, especially ChatGPT. It's the predictive text generation is what you were talking about, is pulling all of these phrases and creating concepts. One last thing, as director of the Writing Center, as someone who reads all kinds of student writing, I'm not trying to flex, but I can tell if a student wrote something or not. It's very easy, especially whenever I read a passage and I look at a student and say, what were you trying to say here? And the student goes, big eyes. I'm like, yeah, you didn't write this. It's fine. We can talk through this, okay? So that's my test drive of ChatGPT and my day with Chatty. Thank you.